Right, so here are some of the headlines within the week. We have Let's Green Ghana, let's provide affordable houses. That is by the President of the Republic. President Akufo-Addo made this known yesterday, and is there. You can find it. And when you check the Ghanaian Times, when you check page 16, no funds for integrity audit. That is from the Engineering Council that is appealing to government. And RTI Commission fines police about 50,000 for failure to release information to journalists. You can get it in the Ghanaian Times. Right, so e-levy, the big issue ongoing in the country, is a public interest one, and so says the president. And so you go find the Daily Graphic and you will get more in that paper. And the foreign minister is also saying we should cease fire. Ghana urges Russia to end everything that is going on, within Ukraine. Okay, so that is from the Daily Graphic. The Council of State engages majority caucus. That is on page 27 of the Daily Graphic. We'll resolve UTAG impasse, still coming from the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and that is from the Ghanaian Times. And we have ECOWAS condemns. More of such news in the Ghanaian Times. Quickly, let's look at the Daily Graphic, where you start kicks off. That is talking about unemployment situation in the country, and pilots successful from the Finance Minister Ofori-Atta, and Gender Ministry also ready for the international scene. Get more of these stories in the Daily Graphic. President Akufo-Addo has also declared June 10 Green Ghana Day, and it targets 20 million trees nationwide. So that is the green evolution for Ghana to make our environment green. Right, so 36 students decorated, that's from the President's Independence Day Awards that is coming up shortly. Let's say 2 days away. Yeah, 2 days to the time. And defer, but don't underestimate our democracy. Right, so those are some of the headlines. Kindly grab the papers on the stands from Ghanaian Times, the Daily Graphic, and all the other papers for the headlines. Right, so with me in studio to be doing the discussion, we will be tackling issues on Russia-Ukraine crisis. We'll be looking at the unemployment situation in the country, and we know that the NDC has petitioned the Commonwealth and creative ways of also providing affordable housing for Ghanaians. And I have in studio Elikem Kotoko. He is a member of the NDC communications team. Kwame.
Ajua.
Good to have you.
Same here. It feels good to be with you again, and I love your outlook. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
And you're looking awesome as well. Right, let me introduce to you a member of the NPP communication team. He is Mr. Kojo Thomson. I took off the Alfred because today is Ghana Day. He's Alfred Kojo Thomson.
Yeah.
Kojo, how fun?
So far, so good.
Are we in for a good show today?
Oh, yeah, on course.
Right.
And definitely we'll get the best of today.
That's right. So let's start with the Russian-Ukraine crisis. We know 2 batches of students have arrived so far. Let me get your initial comments. Let me start from Elikem, and then I'll come back to you, Kojo.
Oh, yeah. Quickly, before I come to that, there's some syndicate going on in town. I wish to just advise our ladies especially on, if you don't mind.
Right, please go on.
Be very careful. These are nice looking guys in very flashy cars, mostly with DV plates, who approach you and say, oh, I want your number, so let me type my number on your phone. They pick your number, your phone, and they speed off. And I think it's become very common around the ANC and some of these places, so people should just watch out. 2 days ago, a friend again was also a victim of that, and it's becoming a usual thing for them. So don't get too fascinated with these flashy cars getting closer. Give me your phone, let me give you my number, I'll call you. They snatch and take it away. Yeah, it came about the West and the East Germany, how, and all of that. But the bottom line is that nobody wants war. Everybody wants it to be brought to an end. I must say that I think the world must find a better way, another way to resolve this than they are for us and you are against us, what we are seeing currently, where some are pro and some are against, because they are victims in the end, and people are losing their lives by the day. I don't think that Ukraine can withstand the power of Russia. I don't think also Russia deserves to take the lives of the citizens of an independent state. But I also don't think that Russia will be comfortable having Ukraine become an ally to or be part of NATO, where they can set up military base right in front of their nose. It will be a threat. I mean, America should face facts. I mean, they also know that, if you recall, in the early 60s, when Cuba and Russia were forming alliance, Russians were moving weapons or ammunition to go and set up base in Cuba. Cuba is 90 miles away from the United States, but the United States refused. Actually threatened that if they do not return from the seas, they were going to blast all their ships at sea. And so Russia retreated. And that is because America will not be comfortable with Russia having their base 90 miles away from them. So why would you think that Russia will be comfortable with you having your base just a kilometer from their country? I mean, this is the reality. And I think that it is not in support of Russia for what is happening, but it's in support of principles and what ought to be done. America cannot pretend not to know these facts and want to have their way. I mean, we all recall what happened even in Iraq. Saddam Hussein was toppled because we said he had weapons of mass destruction. Later, Bush told us we didn't find any nukes, and that was it. NATO forces were allowed to go to Libya. Gaddafi went down. And so let us not pretend, but rather call for peace. So I think that Russia may have a point, though, but let us find how a suitable way in trying to get this resolved. Because it's looking like a very nice way. If you look at all the other countries that were not with NATO at the time, all 12 countries have now joined NATO, except Belarus and Ukraine. And so I think I was told there was an agreement in Warsaw. People say it was just a gentleman's agreement, whether it was or not, that Ukraine must always remain neutral. That is the only way Russia will feel safe, and they all agreed on that. So why suddenly would Ukraine want to move into EU? And from joining EU, that is just a door away from joining the NATO, and that will pose a threat to Russia. I think no Russian leader will tolerate that, so long as America also felt threatened when Russia wanted to make Cuba an ally, and they will not allow Russia, for instance, to build a base at Venezuela, at Mexico, at Canada. I think it should be understandable. The world leaders should also find a way to try to stop hyping this. I think they are giving some media hype to Zelensky and the Ukraine, and unfortunately, majority of them are the victims. They are the ones losing lives. So let us not pretend that they are doing well, giving them that false hope that they can hold the Russian forces back. But rather, let's continue to encourage them to sit down, and I think they can find an amicable solution to this. There are others who feel that Putin will not allow a talk at this point. No, in negotiations, it's always a win-win. And there are compromises that must always be made. And I think that if Ukraine had agreed some time back, knowing the reasons behind Russia not feeling safe for US or the West having NATO having a base there, they should understand. After all, NATO will not allow Russia to join them either. So what is the point? And what is the use of NATO today after it's supposed to be dissolved long ago? So why is NATO still standing? So there's a lot of questions that ought to be answered. It is not as if someone speaking in this way like myself is for Russia or for the battle or the war, the lives that have been lost. No, I saw some videos that are very gory. Armored vehicles just running over and all that. It's unacceptable. Those are human lives that must be protected at all times.
All right, Elikem, thank you for that initial comment, but let me quickly come to Kojo. Kojo, let's get your bit, then let's look at the arrival of the students. We have 2 badges so far, and let's look at how committed the government has been and the experiences of these students, please. Okay,
thank you very much. I'll say good morning to you, to Elikem, Elikem, my brother, who I haven't seen in so many months. And then to all those watching, especially my people of Central Region. I wish them well. And in the time where we are having our polling station elections, I wish them peace, and let's all unite towards a peaceful front where we can both work together to break the cycle, which is in this country, the 8 that we want to do. Coming to this Russia-Ukraine thing, nobody wants war. And this doesn't turn into a third world war, as they keep saying. Yesterday, some figures were being churned around, and they were saying that, how the First World War started, they put the figures together, and they derived the Second World War, the same figures, and then the Third World War is the same figures, the date and everything that all that started. I don't think we should entertain that. I don't think we should look at that, because even with your own country, when there's a fight there, we know what comes out of it. And we've started feeling the pain of this Russian-Ukraine crisis. I don't think we want to see petrol, oil prices still going up. And also, we don't want to feel the pain of even food crisis and everything. At the moment, I know that in some parts of America, I hear that they even have to ration toilet rolls and things. There's an amount you can buy from a shop. You can't just go and decide that, listen, I want 2 or 3 bundles of toilet rolls of these provisions and that. So we should see that where we are heading towards is a dangerous ground, and this should not be encouraged. We should call on all the superpowers or the world forces that are behind this. That, listen, it's human lives we are talking about. It's not going to only affect the developed countries, it's affecting the developing countries especially. And we all want to have peace in where we stay. As President Akufo-Addo said one time, we can never bring a human life that is lost back to life, but you can transform an economy that is down back to its feet. So let's look at that. Let's look at that wise saying. Let's read it and let's recite it over and over again, and know that if the people who are being killed, the pictures, gory pictures we've seen so far, if that is what is going on, all these people are lost, and they can come back to life. But even if there are sanctions and Ukraine or Russia goes down today, economy-wise, they can always turn it around. So would plead with these world forces that whatever they do, they say when 2 elephants fight, is the grass that suffers. So whatever they do, it would affect us. And we've started feeling that pain. We've started feeling that pinch. We've started feeling that that world crisis gradually coming into being. Because your fuel prices go up. Exactly. Your gari will go up. Your kinky will go up. Even the tea you drink will go up. Your light will go up. Everything goes up. Once the fuel prices are up, everything goes up. But unfortunately, your salary will not go up, because your income cannot match up to your expenditure. So you can't increase your salary, the salaries of everybody. That, listen, world prices have gone up on all these, so we are also increasing your salaries and everything. So we should all start sitting down and rethinking about all these things and all these fights and so-called anticipation of a third world war, and the effects that it will have not only on Ukraine but on the world and globally. Right.
What is your take on the arrival of the badges of students that have come so far? You know, when you check the... Let me read something quickly. Let's tackle government's commitments to get them evacuated, the efforts that have been made so far. Then there's something the minister or the deputy minister for foreign affairs and regional integration made, and it's been captured by the Ghanaian Times. I would want us to tackle it quickly. So let's look at the efforts made so far.
When all these things started, people were calling out, and government is not doing anything, and government hasn't shown commitment, and they are not. But in some of these evacuations, you have to be strategic. As we speak now, we've all heard over in Ukraine, some Africans, not only Ghanaians, but some Africans are being attacked there, that they don't want them to leave. It should tell you straight away that when you're going into such crisis, I mean, nobody wants you to leave them there alone and they suffer the consequences by being killed and everything. So they want to die with you. They want to be with, together with you. So you don't bring out your strategy and everything. even America and the bigger forces did not send planes and things there to evacuate their people. All they told them is that find your way out of that place. That is all they could tell them. And they sent a message all around. And we had to get our people, we had to get our mission there to inform those who have or are already there. Listen, find the nearest border and move out, because it's not going to be an easy journey, but you have to find your way out of that place. We cannot come in, we cannot drive in, we cannot bring planes to evacuate you. And so far, the government has shown commitment. They've those who went to Hungary and those places have been brought back home, and the support they are being given. Yes, in all these things, there will be some shortfalls here and there, because once or twice I've heard that some people are saying that, oh, they even called the embassy and in Hungary and they couldn't get them, and they were stranded and everything. Yes, in once or twice some of these things would happen, but on the whole and in general, you realize that people have been the first batch, the second batch has come, and those gradually will bring everyone back home. And we are saying that it's at no cost to them. It's the cost of the government. The government is going to bear all this cost, and we pray fervently that none of our people is affected by death in this thing, and we'll bring them home for them to come to their families safely. I congratulate the government, and I urge them that they should push more to get the people down, because once you've moved out of the permanent place of sleeping and you go into another country, you know that they are sleeping with everything, especially where you might not have money, because when you are running out, you cannot take anything away. So maybe you don't have clothes, you don't have money or anything. You could feel a little bit awkward. So let's quickly rally and get them back home. So at least they know that they can have food, they can have a place to sleep and everything, and they'll feel safer.
Right. Elikem, government evacuation efforts.
Yeah, that's we would have to congratulate them for doing that, but I think there's room for more to be done, and it needs to be expedited. And this cannot go without mentioning and appreciating the efforts of no less a person than the MP for North Tongue, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, for his swift move as I think he's ranking on foreign affairs. And he quickly moved to Romania and interacted with the students. I think that we don't necessarily need our foreign minister going there, but having some representative going there, engaging to reassure them. You know, the whole process is very traumatic in itself. Knowing the fact that they were even discriminating against you for even crossing the border, it was difficult for them. So I think we hope that they do this quick enough. And I want to reiterate again, kudos to Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa for that stellar performance of showing leadership. That is what it is supposed to be. I mean, in leadership. I mean, there are times when it is not much needed, rather that it appears our folks do that. And an example is Apiate, and you saw how the Vice President went in quickly to even the crime zone, which was supposed to be cordoned off. And then an incident happened at down south in the Volta region, and nobody went there. And so in Russia, Ukraine went rather they expected there, but we just expect leadership.
We have a mission there. That's
yes,
supposed to be there.
Probably the missions were also running away because they were not feeling safe themselves.
Certainly, from the news coming in, it means that there was nothing like running away, but there were efforts made.
We didn't. That is what I'm saying. It's commendable.
Congratulating Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa. Yes. You say big kudos to Honorable Shega Ayoko.
Oh, I said kudos to the government,
but at least single her to praise her for what she's done.
I know how you guys can be vindictive sometimes, so maybe if I do so, you may go after her. So in order for her to still be safe, she's singled out and she can be taken on. I mean,
she put in the motherly love and everything.
I feel all the calls for sack Ajosafo now and all of that. And,
right, but let's get back to the issue.
And I know he understands.
Let's get back to the issue. We're looking at a very crucial subject here, and our people are stuck where there is crisis and the need to bring them back. And so, please conclude that one quickly.
No, I mean, that's why I said that.
Are you saying that aside Okudzeto's efforts, the government, has not done
unless you
anything.
didn't hear me. My opening statement was to commend government.
That's
for.
okay.
He was only stressing that I should zoom it into just the lady in waiting, what's the name? The Foreign Affairs Minister.
Honorable Shelley.
Yeah, probably she played the role. So well, definitely kudos to her. But I think there's room for improvement because we need it done quick and fast. And let's also not forget that some have also said that they do not want to even leave. And I have seen some videos that are very disheartening to the extent that some say, look, even though there's war, what is happening in Ghana is even much worse. I'd rather die here in Ukraine than, which is a bit too extreme though. But
that was one video.
Even if it is one, it is just one too many. It can influence more others.
Oh, please.
So that is what we should know.
Wants to stay in
you and I sitting here talking at.
But how do we work around or get such people to understand that look, your lives matter to us,
it is the reason
you are one of us and we need you home. And one of the challenges that was captured is that look, majority of these students have not registered with any so
they are more or
getting
less
them
like
back,
on their own.
yes. How do we deal with that as a country?
Yeah, I think it is also just because our systems are not fully functional. Because if all things were working well, we would have had a proper data and system that would tell us these are the exact number of people here, this, that, and all that. But that also notwithstanding, persons like the gentleman or the video we were talking about ought to be reached out to, spoken to well to understand that, look, this is how dangerous it is. Wherever he is, I mean, social media and technology is now so advanced that it will be very easy to reach the gentleman in question. And if he needs a counselor, if he needs somebody to speak to, because the more this video even goes viral, for instance, we heard that in a lot of Nigerians are queuing up at the embassy, Ukrainian embassy, wanting to offer themselves as citizens to go and fight the battle. You get me? So if there's even another video that is telling people that, look, even though there's war here, it is much better, I prefer to die here than in my poor African country where my leader is corrupt, etc. That is another mind shift, a paradigm shift totally. That would aid other people to even say, okay, even if we don't have the Ukrainian embassy in Ghana, then let's also find where the embassy is and also go. Because what this guy is doing, someone even from a village will say, Accra, I know him very well. For him to say this, then I'm also going to the Ukrainian embassy to go and join. So in one way, then it is encouraging other people. So one of the ways to do this is quickly reach out and find the best way to resolve some of this so it doesn't escalate where many think that, okay, then let's stay there. We don't want casualties
Let's
on our
look
hands.
at the positives of the situation. But let me quickly remind viewers that comments made by panel on this particular platform as their own and do not represent the corporation. So in the event of any legal tussle or anything, please, so let's mind what we say on this particular platform, because it's a bigger platform where we make news and inform policy decisions. So let's look at the bigger picture of our people, because some are stranded in neighboring countries wanting to be brought back home. How do we fast track the return of these people who are stranded in other neighboring countries? Kojo?
We are putting every effort in place. Yesterday, a group of CEOs made a call. What do you call it? There's a video call to some students in Ukraine who have crossed to Hungary, and they had a lengthy chat. They were seeing how best they could support them. The students confirmed that yes, government have come to their and they are safe now. They are okay. They are very happy with what has gone on so far. And the CEOs contributed towards their coming back. They are sending some money to them for their upkeep and everything. So it tells you that there's a concerted effort by all of us to make sure that this thing works and works well. It's not being left to government alone, but everybody who matters has picked up this mantle that, listen, let's all get on board and support this cause. We pray and we ask for that necessary support where other organizations who want to support can liaise with the foreign ministry, support them in various ways, because these are our citizens, these are our people, and it's imperative on us to make sure that they are safe and they are well in whatever they are doing. So we would ask that we support them, or government or the foreign ministry, cash or kind or anything, to get our people back home, and it will go a long way in making sure that our people are safe and everything. Because we cannot sit down aloof and say that, oh, because I'm not affected, or because my child is not involved, or because my nephew or my niece is not part of those who are there, we are not going to take care of them. Another thing we should note is that, yes, my brother, when he was talking, he said that you also made mention that a majority of the students or a majority of the people there don't have records. I can say for sure that once you work on a government scholarship, we know the people who are there and how long they have to stay there. So we have the records from the scholarship secretariat who have been working with the Foreign Affairs Ministry. One thing we don't know how to do as people is that when we get to any country, the first thing, or one of the first things we have to do is to liaise or report ourselves to the embassy, the consulate, the commission, so they have you on record that you are in that country. So if unfortunate issues like this happen, they know where to find you, they know how to contact you, they know how to liaise with you to make sure that they evacuate you from that place. But when you go there and you say that, oh, I came on government scholarship, I already know, and I don't want to, and you have some people who, they finish their course all right, but they don't want to come back. So they will stay there, as we put it, on Macau. You see, so that one will not have a record of the person, because according to our records, the person should have finished in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years and should be back, or even 1 year. So if you stay there like that, we will not have that record of you. But if you report yourself to the embassy or to the commission that, listen, I'm here, I've gotten a job, I've gotten this offer, it's working with me, so I want to liaise with you and make sure that as a Ghanaian, I'm part of your commission, your high commission or your embassy, because once you go on to the embassy, you are on Ghanaian soil. That place is known as a Ghanaian soil, so you can always go there. Sometimes, and you have lovely ambassadors and this and that. Sometimes you go with them and they'll have some fufu with you or some soup with you. They'll sit down and chat with you. They want to know what is going on. They want to know some of the things that help them to, you know, make sure that they give a better what do you call it, situation to you over there and everything. So I'll plead, I mean, anyone watching us via internet or anything, that if you are in any situation, or if you are there, even those who have evacuated themselves to Hungary and other places, if you are not in the zone area where we know where all our people are, and you are with maybe a friend or a loved one or someone, I believe that you should report yourself first and foremost to the embassy, to the mission, and then they would know that yes, you've moved from here to here, and it's easier for us to have some control or have a record of you where it helps all of us. It makes work easier and everything.
You seem to be concurring.
Yeah, I agree. That is what's supposed to be the ideal situation, and we've always had that experience. Of some, you see, and also don't forget, it's not all the students that are there on scholarships. Some are there on their own. And let's not forget, we are not only talking about students, we are talking about our nationals. There may be others who are also working there, some who are even permanently working or have got some residential status and are legally working there. But considering what is happening, since they remain our nationals, there must be ways, we must find avenues to evacuate them from there. And that should be priority for us at this point in time, because there's no benefit in war. There are always only casualties, because it's bullets that are flying. And bullets know no persons. I mean, it may even be stray, but when it hits you, it won't say sorry. So there's a need for us to speed up actions on these. And not only Ghana, all other African countries. I mean, we ought to do this. If, for instance, we were very united as our leaders want us to believe, the African Union, the ECOWAS would have championed this and make it a stronger bloc in order to talk to the others out there in order to make this happen. But we are part of ECOWAS, we are part of AU, but here we are as individuals trying in our own ways to find a solution to a problem that as a bloc we could have easily done so. So there's need for us to hasten quickly before it gets murky. It's looking like it is just the beginning of things, and so the earlier we move our folks out from there, the better.
And any advice you have for students there and partners as government through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs try to also work in collaboration with others to continue the rescue efforts?
We tell them that anyone, even though not in Ukraine but around Ukraine and things.
Yeah.
I believe that if you can move home, they should move home. They should report to the embassies and move home, because you don't know where they can escalate it to. You don't know how things will go from here. As much as possible, these days you can work online and everything. If they can have that chance, they should do that and come back home. Otherwise, if you're not careful and they extend it to the neighboring countries, knowing Putin very well, he can decide that tomorrow he's going through Europe and taking a walk there, and it will turn into something else. Because we all believed, and he said it from the beginning, that he wasn't going to attack Ukraine. But at the end of the day, trust him.
He will still tell you he's attacking the neo-Nazis that are in there.
So we can't trust him on his words. So I'd advise them that what they need to do is to make sure that they evacuate or they move. They report themselves to the nearest embassies. Let them know in which country and how best we can help you in situations where even if you want to move away from there and come back home, we could move.
Right.
Yeah, and there will still remain some who will be not only adamant but very convinced that they are safe, or they can be safe and can protect themselves, amongst other things. It's the reason you will see even all other countries admonishing their nationals that if you can leave, do so. If you cannot do, because some cities have already been cut off, or some towns have been cut off completely. And so if only it is not safe for you to even step out or try to move out, then keep safe wherever you are. That would be the best advice, because some said they are in bunkers elsewhere at other places and all that. No place is safe. I mean, no place is safe. But then, if it is not safe for you, within Ukraine, if it is not safe for you to equally come out and try to find an escape route, then find a safer place in the interim. And I don't like the Ghanaian thing to say we pray that. No, we hope.
Certainly we need to pray that, because it is human life that is involved, and hopefully we still will have to pray that everybody gets.
No, God has given us the wisdom. He lives in us, and so it's just like me being here and praying. We should use that wisdom He's given us, and stop Christianizing ourselves to the extreme where even we see the wrong and pretend to say, let's pray over it to turn right. If we see black, let's keep praying it to turn right. To turn white. No, it won't work that way.
You touched on the AU and the ECOWAS bit.
Yeah.
And moving forward, what will be your admonition? What will be your wish?
I have always maintained, I mean, without any fear of contradiction, that these African blocs are becoming tea drinking and allowance sharing meetings of our leaders, where they just go form alliances and friends amongst themselves, and we do not see much of them. I mean, when were we told that we're supposed to use a single currency? Where have we gotten to? From the times of Nkrumah, where everybody thought we were heading somewhere. Now it doesn't look like we're heading anywhere. We are just marking time at one place, calling names and doing what have you. There's been coups around us, and there's nothing ECOWAS can do. There's very little. So, I mean, there's a need for a certain paradigm shift, and it will have to be with the current crop of young generation, the millennial, that would have to take up this challenge to say, look, this is not the Ghana we want. This is not the Togo that we want. No, this is not the Namibia that was preached to us. We have to change. This is a new continent called Africa. We are richer, we are better, we can do things right. And not until, you see, the whole problem is we are doing things wrong. That is just it. So there's supposed to be a certain mind revolution, that there's a need for us to do things right. Somebody who is in 70s, 60s, 80 is getting closer to the extra time of life. Can take decisions, no matter how reckless it will be. It is just in their parochial interest. But for you and I who are younger, who have 5 decades more, all things being equal, ahead of us, we are the ones who are the future. Even though we say we are the future, we must remain resolute that the future actually arrived yesterday, and we are already late in catching up. So in saying we are the future should not let us relax and say that the future is tomorrow.
The new future.
We are the new future. Yes. I'm sure he's also part of us.
Oh, yes. Kojo is part of it. Right, so let's zoom straight to our next topic that we're dealing with, the unemployment, another big issue in this country.
It's always been a big issue. Unemployment has always been there since Adam. And
you know, the government has announced the You Starts, and it's kicking off in April.
It's a great initiative. It's a fine way of youth off the streets, off sleeping home and everything. If you have an idea, if you have something strategic you want to do on your own, the government is ready to support you and make sure that it works out. So I say kudos to the finance minister, kudos to the employment minister, kudos to NEIP, who is driving this initiative headed by Kofi. And I'll ask that they oil it well, they put more grease to it, they support the young people. You know, the future of any country lies within the youth. And if you have strategic and good plans towards making the youth more comfortable and more appreciative towards staying in their country, then it goes a long way to making the country a better place for everyone to come into. And so when we have programs and initiatives that drives towards youth and their creativity and what can make them start on their own, I always say, and it's a say, it's not just a saying, but it's something that is there, that if you want to be rich, then you don't need to work for someone. You have to work for your own, on your own. Because when you work on your own, you spend more hours. You see the need to make sure that you put in every effort and everything. Within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you should be able to be turning things around. And so I always, when I was in the bank, I always encourage people that, listen, working for someone, you would never make it as you want, because they will pay you. They have a set amount of money that they can pay you. And no one can come and tell you that, listen, I'm running my business, but because you are so good, I'm going to give you the profits, 20% or 30% of the profits. Definitely they will have 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 that will pay you every time. So at the end of the day, it behoves on you, the person. What do I want to do with my life? How do I want to turn my life around? Someone started with 5,000. Maybe today you can start with 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Yeah, I was watching this, one of either your sister stations or it could even be yours, where this guy finished JHS and he started working with the metal and putting buckets and other things together. And today he's driving a big business with this metal. And when he was starting, even his family was telling him that, and the friends were laughing at him that, now we are going to university, now we are metal. And today, those who have even finished their universities are not getting jobs. And some of them even want to come and work with him. Yeah. So it tells you that the future depends not on the government, not on anyone but you. The government is a support system. The government creates the enabling environment for you to come and do something on your own. And these are some of the Youth Start and other initiatives that they are putting together. And so we need to all come up. We need to start having a different orientation. We need to start knowing that, listen, government cannot do everything for you. Government can only create hope. Government can only create the enabling environment. Government can give you that opportunity for things to be at least a little bit okay for you, where you should push in to do something, to come out and be stronger and more fierce in putting a business together, putting a proposal together, putting something worth together. I remember one time when we were having a meeting with the president, and we're looking at this 1D, 1F, and he was asking how many we've been able to support and everything. So he was angry with the banks, and he said, listen, I don't see why you can't behave like what happened in America with Disney World, where someone had this proposal, walked into a bank, the bank looked at the proposal and said, great, this is a solid proposal, we are ready to support you. And they supported him from zero. And look at Disney World today. Why is it that always the banks want to make money or say, I'm not okay with startup businesses, and you should go and run your own business. After some time, I'll be ready to support you. It shouldn't be that way. And that is something he's driving. And so the creativity of this Youth Start is something solid, is something great. Will start with you from the scratch. They'll train you in managing the place. They'll train you in making sure that all the things are going well. They'll be supporting you. They'll be monitoring you and make sure that this business becomes a solid business for all of us. Because once the business goes well, trust you me, they are going to employ people and employ, and it's going to take off that burden from government. We cannot sit down and cry aloof and say that, listen, there is no chance for us to create jobs, there's no chance for us to be creative, there's no chance for us to give the enabling environment to the young ones to drive their own businesses. Whatever we can as a government, we are going to do to support, to train, to equip people, is why we are very, very, very keen on working well with the TVET, where people will acquire the vocational and technical knowledge to be on their own and start businesses that they can drive and move this economy to the economy we expect it to be, to the what do you call it, to a dependency on ourselves but not on foreign goods and services, and that alone will help us grow as a country.
Thank you. Eli?
Yes, very beautifully said, you know. And there's always been concerns. You recall in late 2017 or early 2018 when President Mahama said in Takwa, which I remember, that the free SHS government ought to do a wider consultation. And he was questioned in many ways. What the ask those questions, etc. Again, when he mentioned that he was going to review the free SHS when he came to office, or when he comes to office at the time, it was translated to mean he said he was going to cancel free SHS. Today, there are so much challenges confronting the free SHS on its pillars of is it quality, accessibility, and equality also. And it is staring us all in the face. The quality of food they eat, the infrastructure deficit, logistics and human resource, and all of that. Move away from that. One flagship program of the NPP is NAPCO. As we speak today, I do not know the fate of these NAPCO trainees. It was touted as a major evolution or a major revolution to transform the youth unemployment and all of that, but it turned out to be something else. We would always say commendable, brilliant idea, but you need to do a proper sitting down to do a thinking process so that you're telling us you start. I recall in the budget reading on the 17th of November last year, we were told that the 6 billion that the e-levy was to provide was to help do the U-Start. If you do a calculation of the number of jobs they said they were going to provide, was it 3 million jobs or whatever? If you did the calculation, it meant they were giving each person an average of 3,000 cedis, which in Ghana may not be sufficient enough to actually do any job. So you see, the reason I have to bring all this up is that it appears that government only puts in an election-winning rhetoric just to muddy the waters, to find ways to. I mean, you can recall. I mean, we were told of one district, one factory. 1 million per constituency, one village, one dam. Today, go find out, and you can't actually find those things in the exact.
Are you sure?
Oh, real estate, which is Ghana Rubber Estate Limited, that I knew existed way before I even moved to Takwa, is now one of their products. Casa Preco is one of theirs. I mean, these are existing companies already that you cannot come and classify. So what expansion and how many jobs have they created? And if you want to talk about that, then give proper clarity on that. Under President Mahama, we gave millions to the local pharmaceutical industries and didn't have to say that this was to. It was rather meant to actually expand the system to provide more services and also create more jobs. But don't also forget that on the 20th of February just this year, last month, the Ghana Statistical Service came out to let us know that unemployment has hit its all-time high since 1984. And you know, anytime we have to talk about some of these challenges, they run quickly to say COVID. But they don't tell us, they don't want to even be accountable for the monies they have made from COVID, to the extent that it has to take the World Bank country director at a point to now come out publicly to say, look, you guys, they took 400 million from us and not 200 million as is always been alleged in the media by their communicators, and an extra 135 million for procurement of vaccines. So my point here is that brilliant idea that you want to do U-Start or Youth Start, whichever. It is there's unemployment, which is a major threat to national security and should be taken seriously. But how do we address them? We don't use stopgap measures to just solve problems that ought to be resolved in the long term, where you pretend to be getting them engaged when you know you so well that you are not. And I think that the level of corruption in everything government wants to do is becoming worrying. If only they can get people that will be serious for once, be patriotic and sincerely address matters the way they are. Because if we want to do this U-Start, and even if they tell us that 12 billion or 10 billion is going to be allocated to it, probably only 2 billion will go there. I was told a staggering 12 million or 20 million.
How can you verify?
I was told that a staggering 20 million.
Because from what we have here, let me quickly give you some information. The Ghana Enterprise Agency, that is GEA, and the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program will implement the initiative and with an amount of 10 billion government funding.
To provide how many jobs?
Bill?
Have they given how many jobs is to?
I'll get that for you if that is here.
Yeah. Because, and you see, so the reason I was saying this is that if you recall not long ago, yesterday, I think the president also talked about greening Ghana and planting trees. The previous trees we planted, we were told we spent over 20 million on that. True. Yes.
It's not true.
Oh, that was what was out there. So how much was spent? I stand to be corrected there. I stand to be corrected. No, so can you correct me if you know? You cannot say it's not true and yet not provide evidence contrary to what I'm saying. 20 million. So if you spend 20 million in planting trees,
what proof do you have?
No, what proof do you have that it is not true? I have just read in the news.
Come back to
no, yes. So if, for instance, you are telling me that we spent 20 million in planting those trees that probably even 60% did not survive, then if you are telling me again you will spend 10 billion in YouStart, I am convinced that you will spend 2 billion and the 8 billion will go into private pockets. You get my point? Then we pretend. And you see, one of the dangers of the things this regime is doing that, and when people are quiet, it worries me, is that when things are going haywire and it gets to the abyss where nobody can take it any longer, it becomes a threat to every one of us. The guy who attacks me on the streets or at my home at night does not know whether you're NDC or MPP. But he just feels maybe he needs food or he's an armed robber because the system has put him there. And that is what he's going to do. So it doesn't save you, neither does it save me. It is why we need to speak to these things dispassionately. But if you say that because I am NDC and therefore you call it propaganda, the reality is that it is the truth. So it is a commendable program, but how we manage to do it? At a point when we had borrowed close to 300 billion, that we should have done all these things well, we failed to do them. And now we are saying what? And at the mention of all these things, people will still question, is our president still living the luxurious life? What exact measures are you taking in order to ensure you seal the loopholes that can let us also generate this, to block this level of corruption that will help a country develop? When I was coming to your studio, I was discussing with a friend in the car that, look at Kwame Nkrumah's time. If Kwame Nkrumah was allowed to continue, maybe we would have been the same as Malaysia, as everybody has said. Maybe should Jerry Rawlings have stayed a little longer? I don't know. When President Mahama was also
stayed a little longer.
Maybe Mahama should have also been given a second term immediately after his first term. We were told he was incompetent, he couldn't, etc. Yesterday we heard the president telling us that we should have patience because change doesn't happen instantly. A person who has finished his first term, now he's realizing that. So should President Mahama not be called back now to finish a second term? No. So you get it. I mean, it doesn't. It's like some hypocrisy of cherry picking us and when it favors the regime and its apologies, and it's not working well for us. So yes, it's a brilliant idea, but I have my doubts that it is well intended. I mean, we have even seen how almost everything planned by government is only filled by party loyalists. We saw how the national security was taking people who had 2 weeks training just from selling mobile phones on the streets. They were giving 2 weeks training and giving ammunitions. And this is how. So is it jobs for Ghanaians or is jobs for the NPP? That is one question we should also be asking.
I know you want to react to some of the allegations that he's made on this.
It worries me and it hurts me when I see NDC members criticizing good policies.
Criticism is good.
I'll prefer working with NAPCO. They've been paying them for a long time. Maybe it's after this COVID season that things have been shaky a bit, than to stay at home, not working at all. I'll prefer to work with a NAPCO. I'll prefer to work with a YouStart than to stay at home and not work at all. So if you sit down and you were not able to create some of these things, if your time, you would have created a NAPCO or another agency which could employ people, and we come and we add on. Like by now, the unemployment rate would have gone down. Like by now, the unemployment rate would have gone down. But you don't create, and when someone creates, you criticize. You cannot create. We are in this country. When we had unemployment association, people were crying and yearning that, please, you give us somewhere. Let's say the NAPCO people or you said people are giving 3,000. And when I was starting, I said that some people started even with 500 Ghana cedis, but today they have big businesses running for them. It's how you start, the and how you shape yourself. That listen, whatever profit that I get, the first few years, I am not going to spend it on buying clothes or buying a flashy car, but I'll spend it to turn the business around over and over again, so that when it gets to the time that I can now live a comfortable life, I will do so. And I'll prefer always to work a little bit more, or to bring initiatives that will help people at least ease the pain for a certain time, than to let the pain stay there till date. So sometimes when we are criticizing, we should pinch ourselves and ask ourselves that in our time, what did we do that we're able to ease that pain? And then these people have come and they've added on. But if you are not able to do anything at all during your time, and now you come and criticize these same policies that have helped someone. And don't forget, why did NAPCO come in? NAPCO came in because of one purpose, that people were going for employment and they will tell them that you don't have any experience. You don't have any experience. So what did government say? Instead of staying at home and whilst you are applying, the people are telling you that you don't have experience, I'll give you a 2-3 year experience gap. So after that, you should be able to apply to any job, or even where you are working, or where they gave you this. When you work well, people will pick you on that. Listen, I like this guy. I like his input. I like the way he's working. Let me take this guy and I'll employ him here. Or someone will come to the office and will see you and say that, oh, I like the way this guy, when I come around, he is always busy working at this. Let me pick him on. And that is how people pick people. Sometimes it's not about your godfather or whom you know, but the way the output you bring. People see you and they love you and they want to work with you. So when we do that, when you get that training and after the 3 years, you go out and you are applying, it becomes easier than when you sit at home and cry always that the government is not creating. And I started by saying that you create an enabling environment. People are sitting at home without experience. What is the enabling environment that they created in ACO to make sure that people get the experience that when they move into startups, but they go and help and make sure that the organization grows and grows well. So these are things that, innovative things that this government has done, and you criticize it when you don't have anything to show off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right, Ellie, yes. I will allow you to. I'll allow for a rebuttal, but let me go for a quick breather. Okay. When we come back, it's a fight you started, but I will allow you to end. So this is the weekly press review where we bring you a summary of all the headlines within the week. We are here discussing a number of issues. We've tackled the Russian-Ukraine crisis and the badges of students that have arrived in the country. Currently, we are dealing with another big issue confronting this country, and it's unemployment. Now the government is saying it has started an initiative, or starting an initiative come April, named You Start. So we'll go for a quick breather. When we come back, we'll continue with the program. And don't forget, you can also share in your comments, and quickly we'll give you the platform to do so. Be with us.
The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invites all Ghanaians to be part of activities marking the 65th Independence Anniversary celebrations of our Republic in the Central Region.
Cape Coast 2022!
Health and Fitness Walk will be led by the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, in Cape Coast, with participation at various sports centers across the country. Time 6 a.m.
Sunday, 27th February. Christian prayer and thanksgiving to be observed in all churches nationwide.
Monday, 28th February. The 74th anniversary of the Christian Board Crossroads shooting incident will be marked at the Nationalism Park in Osu. Time 8 a.m.
1st March 2022, National Flag Hoisting Day to be observed nationwide.
Wednesday, 2nd March, the President's Independence Day Awards for School Children. National Conference Center, time 10 a.m.
Thursday, 3rd March, Wear Ghana Day. There will be a tug of peace among 7 Asafo companies in Cape Coast.
Friday, 4th March, Muslim Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving to be held in all mosques nationwide. the Central Region Industrialization Drive, an exhibition of various manufacturing companies, including the Ekunfi Fruit and Juices Limited, will be held at Cape Coast, time 10 a.m. The President's Cup, a soccer match between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak, will be played at Accra Sports Stadium. Kick-off time 6 p.m.
Saturday, 5th March.
An evening of drama and reenactment of the Declaration of Independence will be held at the Elmina Castle at 7 p.m.
While a Beyond the Return vigil will be held at the Elmina 10 p.m. 65th anniversary fireworks by the Ghana Armed Forces will take place at all regional capitals before midnight.
Then on Sunday, 6th March, for the third time in Ghana's history, the National Independence Anniversary Parade, which moved from the Black Star Square in Accra to the Liu Mahama Sports Stadium in Tamale and the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, is now moving to the Cape Coast Stadium in the Central Region to be hosted by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
All must be seated by 7:30 a.m. The special guest of honor will be the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Amor Motley, MP.
Also in attendance will be the Oguamanhin Osaberi Makwisata II. Come, join and let's commemorate Ghana's 65th independence anniversary.
Cape Coast 2022, working together, bouncing back better.
Their labors, toils of the brave which are brought.
Hello viewers, this is a new season on Time with a banker and financial advisor. This new season will throw light on
Welcome back. I'm here with a member of the NDC communication team, Kwame Elikem Kotoko, and Alfred Thomson of the NPP communication team, and we are discussing Russia-Ukraine crisis. Currently, we are on the issue of unemployment. And Kwame, you wanted to touch on quickly with yes.
Just a quick one is that, let us stop settling for mediocrity. That it's just like saying that, you know what, I don't have water in my neighborhood for 1 month, and you say I haven't had water for 2 weeks, and I say, oh, lucky you, 2 weeks, that's better, 1 month is worse. No, all is not good. You see, that is why I started off saying that, look, it's a good project, it's a good thinking through process, but it needs more details so that we can rest assured that this is not just going to be one of those flowery things that will eventually be just a stopgap measure. If we want to take an average NAPCO person, as he suggested, that is being paid how much, 600 or 700 cities, and you know how much rent is, how much this and that is. Let's even assume the fellow is living with the parents and all that, transportation amongst other things. Look, it comes to zilch. So let us not make it look like, oh, because we are even giving you something. Yes.
You do away with the experience,
yes,
but for that, you will be at home.
That is why we need to know that the concern is not about that. It's about the job creation. So when you promise one district, one factory with a diagram showing 200 or 300 factories to be situated, dotted all over, and we are not seeing that. Now suddenly you are saying it's in partnership with private sector and we are seeing only 5, or they say it is 85, calling existing companies part of one district, one factory, etc. Then you are not really creating, because the problem is, how many jobs have you added? You get my point. You recall when they came to office at a point in March, Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia said they had provided 1.85 million jobs. Then he backtracked later. They said they had provided 800 and something jobs and all of that, when we don't even have statistics to back it. And in terms of what it ought to do. So it's not just lip service and flowery speeches and all that, Ghana Beyond Aid and all of this, that you're not actually actualizing. So the truth is that, yes, NAPCO, youth employment, what have you. The point is that we must create decent jobs for our people.
How do we do that? How
do we do that? We are investing in nothing under this regime other than corruption, which has become a major and what's the word to use? A flourishing enterprise, which is very worrying. I mean, if you look at Transparency International's rating of Ghana, if you look at even our economy and how it's performing, the World Bank advising us even that government needs to stabilize the economy. A lot of things are not going on well. We cannot pretend to say that things are not going well. Then we quickly rush to say it is COVID. Let us stop that hypocrisy.
Come back to the question of how.
Yes.
How to, you know,
we need to stop corruption. We need to, that is what I'm saying, in stabilizing the economy, what do we have to do?
Okay.
We need to find very innovative ways of keeping this economy on its toes. When the president is still flying in luxurious flights, you think that the Ghanaian who is watching him live like that will be comfortable to want to pay an e-levy? This is how they are all intertwined. This is, I'm still going to fly my luxurious jets. And it is not helping.
How do we create employment for our people?
Do you know how much it costs? I will still stay on the president's luxurious jet. If the president can cut down on even the expense of his luxurious jets alone, that alone could provide jobs for other people. So we need more factories, as they promised Ghanaians. When they were talking about the Commander Sugar Factory not being what have you, I read in the news 2 days ago that it is now going to be operationalized. Have they planted the number of sugar canes that they were saying was not planted, which was why they shut it down? No. So what has changed? So you see, the point is that not just lip service to things, but let us see it being actualized. And it is one of the reasons now they are running away from wanting to go to IMF, because they feel IMF will put some restrictions on you. If you mismanage the economy, they would have to streamline and guide you on how to go about it. And it is the reason why you now feel you have to rather tax us through e-levy before you can progress, and that cannot be.
Right, Elikem, you still haven't answered the question of how. But
how did I tell you? Let me just. I told you. You asked how do we provide jobs? If we can cut on corruption and even the luxurious lifestyle of the regime, that alone is enough to provide a lot of jobs.
Okay.
If we can set up factories as we really said in our campaign, then that should be able to provide jobs. Let us create jobs. You see, so you don't just say that one district, one factory, 1 million per constituency. Where has the 1 million gone? That would have provided jobs, but we are not seeing it. So these are avenues of creating jobs. Not jobs that are supposed to be make you pretend that you are working, and government also pretends to be paying you, then you'll be proud to say that I am giving the school leaver 700 just because he is earning some experience. Yes, if he gains the experience, he finishes and still there's no job. There are still no factories. There are no companies. Where does he go? He still goes back to ground zero.
Then
to the house.
You, the problem still persists.
The problem still persists.
Right, let me get a quick rebuttal from Kotoko.
Awuah, you see, you talked about mediocrity. Mediocrity is when you cannot create a job and someone creates a job and you criticize it. That is mediocrity. When someone thinks outside the box and creates an avenue for people to be able to stand on their own and work to the satisfaction of themselves and their people, so that we have a Ghana beyond aid, and you cannot do anything like that, and you cannot tell me what you did, so I should give you a chance to come and do it again, and you criticize what I'm doing and what I have done, then you are talking about mediocrity about yourself. Because you know what, whether you like it or not, and note it here, check with the statistics, even in GBC, there is nothing that is rosy. When you start anything, it's not going to be perfect. When you even create 5 factories, it's not all the 5 factories that will work. On some occasions, you might get everything working. On some occasions, you might get people who are just coming to destroy it, people who are just coming to steal, causing, people who are spoiling machines and everything. So at the end of the day, you get some that will work and some will not work. When you create NAPCO, some will get employment, some will not get. When you create NAPCO, the people who have been employed will not sit at home and cry and ask that when shall it be. But they would go to work and have a feeling, a sense of belongingness, that at least if they haven't gotten at all, there is something. There are crises. There was a global crisis with this, what do you call it, COVID. Whether you like it or not, whether we use it or not, everybody knew that COVID was a global phenomenon that affected each and every country. Some countries had to shut down for months without working. Some countries had people dying. Look at Italy, the number of people, the number of deaths that happened there. Look at the third wave, what happened in India. We were able to manage it well. Whether you use 100 million or 500 million or 1,000 million, we were able to manage it well based on how we presented ourselves and what we did. And that was why when you go to a World Bank or you go to IMF or anywhere, they will give you funding to make sure that what you are doing, you continue with it. We were in a country where there were no crises, but the economy collapsed.
But prior to the crisis,
Mm-hmm.
what was the unemployment situation in the country?
Prior to the crisis, what was the average growth rate of the country?
Tell me.
It was over 7%. Even during the crisis, when people were growing negative, we were growing at 3%. Even during the crisis, and that was Mohammed's growth rate. Even during the crisis, we were growing at 3%. Because of the management of the economy. And that is how you grow an economy. And that is why the president stated categorically that I know how to bring the economy, I never know how to bring dead bodies back to life.
That was a plagiarized speech.
So whether it was a plagiarized,
so let's not
attribute. He said it, and it's a sensible speech.
He's the originator or the author of that speech. But just a quick one.
Right.
See, am I done?
Oh, you're not done
yet.
Take over. Okay, if you're not done yet,
you can come in and I'll talk.
Right.
You see, the question Ghanaians want to even know from government is, what exactly did you do? Because we were the people. What did you do in this time of COVID? You only took money. What did you do? Look, we have been lucky that we are in Africa, where our temperature or our weather or everything, our geolocation played a major role in terms of even this pandemic. Tell us exactly what you did, and let us know how much you've gone for. Other countries haven't even gone for that much. You have gone for this.
You know, Elikem, let me ask you two quick questions, then we'll go to our next topic, please.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that politicians you are responsible for the current unemployment situation we have in the country? Because you tend to politicize everything.
I would agree with you.
Especially employment.
I will agree with you to a larger extent that politics has been a major tool for the quagmire we find ourselves in, and that is not to be disputed. And that is why it is worse when you have a regime that is very talkative and only doing PR and not doing the work itself. You will agree with me that 6 years down the lane, they are still talking and blaming John Mahama. Can you imagine a regime that has finished its first term and is in second term is still blaming? So it tells you that there's some level of a system that bereft of ideas. So let's just keep heaping every blame on all other people except us. I mean, like even what is happening in Russia, Ukraine, they will tell us, yes, it's a result for fuel price increases. Fuel price has been increasing before Russia started invading Ukraine. The dollar to the cedi. What did you do? Your then candidate made analysis that $1 1 cedi. Mahama, true. $1 2 cedis. Today, how much is it? As of this morning, the dollar is 7.6 at the forex. What are we doing about it? What exactly have we done good? The pound has broken the 8 and is in 9s and about to break the 10. The fuel price has broken the 8 as usual.
You see the blame game.
No, it's not a blame game.
Let's find solutions.
It's not a blame game. So the point is that what solutions are you giving? You see, when you are lamenting so much as the regime that has been elected to oversee.
You've never lamented.
No. Oh, the president himself was telling us.
Hold on.
The president himself was even telling us that to change things wouldn't be just overnight and all of this. Since when did he know it? Then why did he promise us in 2016 and during the campaign that he would transform Ghana in 18 months?
Didn't he do it? Didn't he start?
Ghana is transformed for you.
Didn't he start?
And let me tell you one thing you need to always look at.
Okay.
Go look at the only best time they did something good or that the economy was on sound footing was 2017. Ask what they did. EI, Economic Intelligence, even predicted already in 2015 that due to the sound footing of the economy under President Mohammed's time, 2017 was a good grounding for takeoff. So you have only inherited a system in 2016, and for which reason the 2017 will look good. From 2018, they started taking a nosedive. The economy took a nosedive before COVID-19 came in 2019. Look at the statistics. So don't be blaming it on COVID-19, which came somewhere around November 2019, and then all of that.
Are you done?
You get it. I'm done.
Thank you. You see, Awuah, I was expecting my brother Kwame to tell me that in my time, I created a NAPCO a Zone B, you start Z, or NEI, and this is what it did. Yours is not doing well because of A, B, C. So when I come in, this is what I'm going to do. But you haven't been able to show me even one.
We have given you. For instance, we know of the big push, etc. No, I just wanted to know. It is already contained in our manifesto out there.
You are talking about you are going to do a big push. No. What did you do when you were in power?
Okay, fine.
You have
unemployment. What did
let's cease.
Can I finish?
Let's look at
I want to finish this thing and push it into a drive of a way forward.
Right.
You see, when you want to take power back, then you tell me that when I was in power, this is what I did. That helped the Ghanaian youth to stand on their own and stand on their feet. You cannot even show me one thing you did that helped Ghanaians or the youth in this country. You are telling me that you just push or whatever you call it, you are going to do it when you come back. When you couldn't do anything when you were in power, and you expect me that I should give you again. When someone has moved the economy from a good a bad situation into a good situation.
A good situation is a heightened unemployment?
When you're talking, I didn't interrupt. when you were in power, if you had put things right, if you had done things the right way, if you that time the corruption that engulfed this country was that not at its highest peak, like by now, when President Akufo-Addo took over, we would have moved into another realm. But we had to go back, right back to where President Kufuor stopped, to correct the wrongs that you have put in place, to correct the situations that have gone bad, to wipe all the nasty slates out of the system. Look at the banking crisis. Look at the situation when you knew that banks were doing what you call it, trading or money laundering, more or less. Move one money from here into another, and there were a whole crisis. And even World Bank told you that, listen, if you don't clean your banking situation, you can't move your economy forward. We had to come and do it to clean the situation before now putting
if I allow this, it will go on and on
before you can move on. So at the end of the day, what we want to do, create a situation, create the enabling environment where your youth can go and pick up, sit down, learn, pick up some fund and start something on their own. 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, they will be employing 5, 6, 7 more people to join their businesses. That is initiative.
But in all of this, how do we strengthen the link between education and the job market?
And that is why I use the lesson of TVET. You see that when we took over...
But we have given least attention to...
No.
Yeah.
When we took over, you realize that about 7, 8 or 9 ministries differently were running a type of TVET in a different situation. So we sat down, we did a blueprint, and we realized that you have to bring all under one umbrella. A direct contact, a direct link, a direct course on that situation. And that is why they've created that TVET, they've turned that whole NVTI into the whole TVET, enclave. So that people will be trained to become handy professionals and be able to stand on their own. When you finish and you have a full course, you won't have a situation, we want it to get to a time where when you pick your phone and you call an electrician, you know that he's government certified. It's not someone who maybe has gone to work with Elikem and now he, from apprenticeship, he becomes a director of his own company, his own boss. He comes and fixes some wires in your house, and in 2 months' time, your whole house burns down. That is the type of certification we want to give. So when you take the A to Z of a country, the phone numbers, and you are looking for qualified electricians, you know who to call and how to contact them. That's what TVET is all about. And that is the drive in which we are going. And that is why the president will tell you that it doesn't happen in a day. It takes time. Because what has been spoiled cannot be corrected within 4 years. It takes time to clean up and rebuild. And that is why we keep on saying that when we throw the dog and the bones back to the dog, what is going to happen is that after another 4 years, we are going to clean up again and start all over again. We don't want that to happen. Let continuity prevail, and you will see how Ghana will move into the realm of a solid country, a solid economy, and a solid future for our youth.
Eli, let me give you the final note.
You know, I believe that when it comes to corruption, you just need to go to Transparency International or get onto the streets of Ghana to find out for yourself. The worst performance of John Mahama has become even the best of their performance till date. Yeah. And when you talk of inflation, it was under the NDC that inflation was held at single digit for 35 good weeks. And so, you see, it is one thing talking, saying we are the better managers of the economy. Today, that is where you are. It is one of the reasons why now today, we cannot find our vice president to say a word on the so-called 170 questions he raised on e-levy, on things, because they have even shot him in the foot. Because he told us publicly in an interview. So
raise your questions and he'll respond to you.
Oh, he should answer his own 170 questions first.
Raise your questions.
No,
respond to you. He should raise.
We want him to actually even answer what to e-levy.
We are looking at the linkage between education and the job market, yes, so that we can provide a sustainable means of employment for our young people.
It is because there's wanton corruption. If Auditor General's report will tell you and I that about 12 billion has been sunk in corruption somewhere, and this other institution also tells us that was in 2018 that was it 9 billion was sunk into corruption, and it continues this way. The numerous now and then. That should be worrying to every Ghanaian, that indeed we are not poor. It is leadership that has chosen a certain path of darkness to only enrich a few minority within their own sector. Even in their own circles, they know some of them are still in opposition in power. You get my point? I mean, so why? And it doesn't need to take an NDC person to say this. The average Ghanaian on the street is seeing what is happening. It doesn't need to take a soothsayer to tell. The average Ghanaian on the street is suffering. Petrol price is on the rise. I'm told that on the 18th of this month also they're supposed to, another group is planning a demonstration because of the fuel price hikes. I mean, and all of this.
But you are much aware of the crisis in Russia and Ukraine.
I am aware. I mean, prices have been on the rise. It took a flight long before Russia and Ukraine.
Effect to
so government should look at some of the taxes that are contained in there. If our road minister had the effrontery to call for the cessation of collection of road tolls, why are we still paying road levy in the petrol price? Why are we paying that? It doesn't make sense to even to the toddler. You get me? Because the road minister, who is a nephew, a family of the president, so nobody's able to say it. It will only take the NDC to be bold enough. Because if you are one of them and you criticize him, you may either be dealt with in one way or the other. So none of them is able to say, are they justifying what the road minister did? As we speak, foreign vehicles from Cote d'Ivoire, neighboring countries, are all driving on our roads, destroying our roads, and they are not even paying toll. Is that what it is? Then you are telling us we should pay e-levy again for the foreign nationals to come and use the roads without paying? Doesn't make sense, my sister. So you get my point. So a lot of things is just basic logic, but it appears it has become rocket science to the regime. You criticize it and they say, give me solution. I am criticizing it because I'm telling you shouldn't have done that in the first place, which is a solution. Eventually, we're told again they want to convert it to urinals, then now to police posts. Let's
Ellie,
stop.
I think I'll need to.
We need to.
I was looking at how you were going to link it to us finding a sustainable means.
Are you aware that even cancelling that is no? Are you aware that has caused so many jobs?
It has, but would we continue to?
It doesn't cause them. They are still working.
Where are they working? They are working under the ministry. You see, these are lies.
Can we know the way
forward? Are they working?
Drink some tea.
See, the way forward is that government should get serious. You see, I have mentioned this to you. Has it not caused unemployment in one way or the other?
But how do we maneuver out of all this?
I am sorry if you do not see the weight corruption is causing on unemployment in Ghana. If we could go to the outside world that we need $5 million or $100 million to do this project, when there are billions we are losing to corruption in the country, and we do not think that we should hold our government accountable to seal those loopholes, in order for that to be redirected into generation avenues, then we are not doing anything. Because even if we go and borrow 5 billion, even if we give them the 6 billion, because Ghanaians believe that even there will be corruption with the e-momo, the e-levy, they do not want to pay. Because government has not been accountable and transparent enough. So when you ask that, what is the way forward? The way forward is to plug corruption. The way forward, as the World Bank has advised, is stabilize the economy. The way forward is that let's speak the truth to the Ghanaian. So they will appreciate that this is the challenge we find ourselves in. But when you come to tell me that the economy is on sound footing, everything is okay, then if it is okay, then don't come and be asking me to. Okay, you know, government has made about 15 U-turns in terms of even its policy implementation.
Sorry, we would have to move on to the next subject. Unemployment is a huge issue. It's something we can't deal with within the minutes that we have, but certainly on other platforms and on other programs here at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, much into it, because without it, there is no future. Right. So we're going quickly to. Yesterday, the president was on an issue. Gentlemen, please, would you allow me? Thank you.
Yeah, allowed.
We are still live on the weekly press review, and as about now, we'll be looking at providing affordable houses, just as the president, Akufo-Addo, has said, being a challenge to players in the sector. And he is saying that he's very much worried about the high costs of housing in Ghana, and has urged the Chamber of Construction to find an antidote to this problem. The president is saying that we should find creative ways to make housing inexpensive, and in order to do this, we need to bridge that gap, the 1.8 million housing deficit facing Ghana. This was said by President Akufo-Addo. Let's take
to this problem. A critical aspect of it is our ability to build houses cheaply. We cannot continue to ignore the expensive methods of construction that has made housing here virtually a monopoly of the rich. It shouldn't be the case. The richest country in the world, America, has some of the cheapest housing that you can come across anywhere in the world. Yeah, here in Ghana, some small three-bedroom house in East Legon, places is costing you $350,000, $400,000, $500,000. You get mansions for that in many parts of America. Yes, $100,000, $200,000 maximum. That gives you a very well-appointed home, because the materials that go into construction in the United States are local, they're indigenous, and they are very, very cheap. We need to find a solution to how we can build strong houses here, but cheaply. The President, the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda.
All right, so that was the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, admonishing that we find creative ways of making the cost of housing very minimal for Ghanaians, so they can afford. So, boss, Kojo, I'm starting with you. This is what the president is saying. What do you make of it?
He's spot on. What else can we say? He's spot on. When you look at our wage, the type of housing, the amount of money we spend on housing, you ask yourself, I mean, should it always be brick and mortar? Because you go to the States and you realize that most of their housing, apart from the outside, that is brick and mortar. Most of them are with all these, what do you call it? Fiber or wooden or something, you know. Why do we always want to put so much money into brick and mortar, where tomorrow you have to do some adjustments and you have to break here and break here and break here and break here? Even the washroom when you are going to is brick and mortar. You can use the fiber, you can use the POP, you can use so many other things to create the inner part, especially when you think that because of rains and everything, the outer. Some places in the States, actually, you realize that up to maybe the middle level is brick and mortar, but the rest outside, I mean, but inside you go. And at first, that was, I think, how our house would be, because we had a house at Evacuation, where when you go Takrade, where when you go, the inside was made of wood and everything. You know, and I mean, someone sleeping in this room should be able to access easily the person in the next room. Now we've changed everything, and you see skyscrapers in brick and mortar, and everything is haywire. You ask yourself, the offices, these days, the offices, you realize that now they are changing the pattern. They put the main structure there, the floor is flat, and then you come and do your own designs for your internal usage. That is how we have to start building our houses, so that we reduce the cost. Someone who is earning, like, let's say, at most 5,000 Ghana cedis a month, you tell the person to go and buy a house for $140,000, how many years is he going to use to pay? So let's all come together. Let's, especially the architects, the surveyors, the builders, whoever is involved, let us see how best we can build houses at the lowest or barest cost and get people to accept and live in. Sometimes Ghanaians are difficult to change, but when they adapt to it, they go so much crazy about it that I believe if you've reduced the house to maybe a 2-bedroom house to about affordable one to about 20,000, as we did for the community 20, is it 22 or 25 in near Michelle Camp, people would always push and move for that, and that is what we expect from them. So that is what I'll say. I say he's spot on, and we should all encourage and push our people to move the extra mile, think outside the box, and create an avenue where people do not feel down because they cannot afford the most expensive houses that are being built all across.
Eli?
Yeah, I seem to have a lot to say on this. I mean, in the first place, I was surprised that the president himself couldn't stand his grounds there and then to even bar these folks from quoting their houses, even in the foreign currency. I mean, we are in Ghana, and there are directives from the Ministry of Finance that institutions should actually, because these are some of the ways we dollarize the economy, and see the dollar to the cedi today. The Vice President, when he told us in one of his talkative speeches that he arrested the dollar and had given the key to the IGP. Today, the dollar had broken jail 7.6, and he's become dumb. He's become mute. He is not talking on that. And for me, listening to the president even make an analysis using East Legon was totally misplaced. The majority of the people don't even know where East Legon is. He should come down to the level of the people to know. The East Legon is an elite society. It's an elite enclave that probably I may not necessarily even care how much a building costs over there. But tell me, Dr. Mahmoud Babin promised that they were going to do affordable housing, and Kaya Years were going to have their buildings, and so they were going to import more Kaya Years to come and live in Accra because they were building affordable houses for them. First term has ended. They are in the second term. I don't know. So I don't even know if when the Vice President speaks, we should take him serious, because it appears he's on a completely different wavelength at variance with what the government position is on things. Then you also recall the Saglemi housing project and many others that has stalled till date, which could have actually resolved some of the housing deficits we have. As we speak, whatever challenges government is having with that, you can still progress with that while you go on with whatever actions you want to take. Because by the time we get back, I drove past there about 2 months ago, and all resources in terms of vehicles used by the company OAS or so have all been left there to been very obsolete. And so if eventually we have to re-award the contract, it will cost us times 5 or 10 of even the original cost, because already the dollar is not the same. So one thing the president forgot was that he has put us in this mess where the contractors will have to be quoting in dollar and at high cost of production. So the cost of materials. So living standards in Ghana, doing business is high. If prices continue to go up the way they are, and people are paying road levy when we feel that our road minister should cancel road tolls, and all these have contributed to the build-up that has increased petrol price. So price of products have also gone up high. What do you expect? Do you want them to go below the break-even margin? No, they will not. They are there. They are in for business. And it is the reason why government affordable housing projects would help. And so you should look at something like that. The cost of materials is not their fault, because the materials they are building with is what is on the rise. And what is causing that? The economy is what is causing that. I agree with my senior brother in saying that we need to look at other innovative and creative ways of building in order to... I have been saying one thing, that in the early 90s or back then, before early 2000s, Nobody really cared about building a house, owning a land, or etc. But, well, we are property owning, democracy, and all that shaped our people's conscience in a certain way that everybody now, even after finishing GSS, is thinking of how to buy a piece of land or a parcel of land to build my own thing on it. If government had taken up the housing projects seriously, the deficit would have been confronted head on, because the majority of the people, I'm sure you agree with me, about 70 to 80 or even 90% of the people who fall in the deficit category. And these are people who cannot afford even the $100,000, or let alone talk about 200 and 300. So if we have proper housing projects in various regions, districts, etc., it will help alleviate the challenge that we are confronted with. So the president should please wake up to the smell of the coffee. He's the reason we find ourselves here, because he's the one in charge of the economy. He doesn't want us to blame Dr. Bawumia alone. He and Dr. Bawumia, who is the head of the economic management team that has now turned into an economics management team, should be blamed squarely. As it stands now, cost of materials are high. What is the result of that? Cost of living in Ghana has gone up, and that I think I saw even just 2 days ago on a sister station. Everything is on the rise, and you don't expect the people to also be doing business and be running at a loss. And to have the president himself quote in their presence that it is going for so and so $1,000 tells that he is also actually in appreciation of the fact that things are quoted in the foreign currency in Ghana. So even though the Ministry of Finance has issued directives trying to put a clip on those, the president has actually again shot his own regime even in the foot.
Okay. So we are here looking at providing affordable houses for Ghanaians, and that is currently on the radar. We will go for a quick break and come back to read your messages.
I'll teach you.
Right, so it's the weekly press review, and so far we have been discussing a number of issues. We've discussed the Ukraine-Russia crisis, we've been looking at affordable housing, we've been looking at unemployment, and your take matters on this platform. So let's see what we have here quickly. This one says, good morning, my name is Marvin from Bawi. We can't compare Ghana to the US in connection with affordable housing and the price. If you build what is built in the US, we first think of security. If we use the American way of building, trust me, it will ease robbery for robbers. Secondly, they always say affordable housing, but they buy it themselves. Right, so this one is coming from Marvin from Bawe. Quickly, let's take a look at another comment. Good morning, GTV. Now, in Ghana, everything is destroyed by Mahama, COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine crisis. NPP is still promising more. Where is NAPCO? 1D, 1F, 1V, 1D, etc. What is there? I can't read. NPP also promised us renting a room for us in 2020, in the 2020 campaign. His hashtag is Bawumia, that is the vice president. We would appreciate if you add your name and where you're reaching us from. Okay. Thank you for that one. Let's see what we have here. This one says, there is a gentleman who is building a 2-bedroom house for 25,000 Ghana cedis using plastic and sand composite with POP coatings on the inside. This is something that needs to be encouraged. Okay, so talking about creative ways of getting affordable houses. Right, let me see. There's a long one. I disagree with the NDC man. He's talking about Elikem, Kwame Kotoko. I disagree with the NDC man that it's better a political or a government creates opportunities for the citizens of everything ordinary Ghanaians, as example, free SHS and other jobs led to the executive, legal institutions, as well as the parliament to sit down to solve or put any difficulties in place to the best of the nation to move forward. But because of the hypocritical practice of the 2 major political parties we have in Ghana, it's made things not to progress, but sit in parliament fighting as old men, not as elderly, voted by the poor citizens endorsed. We needed Daniel and Joseph in Ghana's parliament. We are seeing magicians who cannot see the presence and the future of this country, Ghana, but okay with their self and their families. Who is it coming from? Please kindly ask the NDC person when we will all I don't get this message well. A parliamentary candidate, one in mind to tell the government to fix the road from Japan to Ho and from Peki to Kwebe to Hohoi, because I was there when President came to Volta Star radio station, that those roads will be with before the poll when he lost the election till now. Okay, so thank you, but please add your name. We'll appreciate it. Quickly, let me see if we have other. Good morning, please. I'm Dan. I'm asking the NPP man, why are they still blaming the NDC for the bad economy? This goes to Kojo Thomson. Dan says, why are you still blaming the NDC for the bad economy? Okay, the abandoned sugar factory could have provided thousands of jobs. The abandoned e-blocks could have also provided thousands of jobs. This is from Samuel. Samuel, thank you. Let me see. So it is the weekly press review. We are in for more of your messages. You can send it onto our WhatsApp platform. This one says, let the citizenry know what and how the state is fighting corruption and protecting the public purse. Thanks. Unfortunately, you didn't add your name. That one is from Kwabna, right? Hello, I'm enjoying the discussions, and I will be glad if you can speak in our local language for average Ghanaians to understand. We'll try as much as possible to do that, because we are in the Ghana man. We'll do our best. But please add your name. We'll appreciate it. It's a good feedback we are getting from Kwabna. Kwabna says, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the program. I am a victim to unemployment. I have worked with a company for 3 years and all hope of retaining us. But I found myself jettisoned by so-called aptitude test that majority of the one working doesn't partake. In Ghana, is you don't or party folk, you are going to ground zero. Tell your panelists that we are suffering from their so-called unproductive creation of jobs in the name of I want to satisfy my pledge to the voters. Okay, thank you, Kwabna. Okay, let me see quickly. Good morning, madam. The NPP man asked him if he can start any business with 100 Ghana cedis, and why would he even be a party communicator if not in the name of corruption? Madam, please ask the NPP man if he can start a business. Okay, with 500 Ghana cedis, I will personally give him the 500 Ghana so that he stops the. Oh wow. Okay. Kweku, this is coming, Kweku, directly to Kojo.
Yeah.
Kojo, can you start a business with 100 cedis or 500 cedis? part with 500 cedis?
Yeah, if he wants to part with it, he can.
What business he's asking?
I will start a business, but that doesn't mean that I should stop what I love doing, communicating for the party. He can't say that because he's helping me start a business, I should stop communicating for the party. Listen, there are people who start with nothing.
So what business?
From ground zero.
What business can you use 100 cedis?
That is why I'm saying that there are people who start from ground zero. They go with themselves. They can go to maybe someone who imports. Oh, let me take 2 of your margin or 2 of your soap or 2 of this. Let me sell. I bring it back. It's based on honesty and maybe the way you and the person deal. Maybe the person has been doing maybe kaya you or something for someone for some time. So after some time, they'll say, okay, I can give you this. Go and sell 2. Bring the money. You take the profit, and that is how you can grow yourself. It's not always that you need $1 billion to start. You can give someone $1 billion cedis. They can start a business and it will go flat.
That's right. Okay. We are so disappointed in this government because the country is getting worse every day. In Ghana here, which government companies can employ 300 people? A rhetorical question. I don't know if any of us would want to take that. Let's do another one. Unfortunately, Ghana has no mission in Ukraine. Ghana's mission in Switzerland has oversight responsibility over Ukraine. And you didn't send us your name. Black Lives Matter, please help our people if you can get them back home. I think it's in relation to the Ukraine-Russian crisis, and we've been talking about it here. I think that will be, we'll leave our messages here for now. You can bring in more of your messages because your feedback matter to us. Let's see. Still from Kwabna, I'm a victim. Okay, we've read this one. U.S. invaded Cuba. This is a history the person has given us. I think it's a very long one. Let's see. It's long in relation to
we said earlier on.
Yes, it's something we have said. U.S. invaded Cuba in 1960 because Soviets wanted to be the military bases in Cuba, giving a background to the Ukraine and Russian crisis. Hi, I am Rita. Please, Mr. Kotoko, please stop criticizing the government. Kindly appreciate what the government is doing. All I have realized is that anytime NDC members speak, he or she keeps criticizing the government. Ever since I completed school and listening to their conversation on TV shows, all I could see is criticism. And this is coming from Rita Harrison Kwaku Tomenyi from Accra says, please, kindly ask the NDC person when he will. Okay, I think he's talking about the fixing of the roads in Japan to Ho and from Peki to Hohoi, because he says the president sometime visited there and he said it will be fixed in 3 months, but still it hasn't been done. I should ask you. So when?
But
oh, you're not in power.
We are no longer in power. I mean,
so you
priorities.
Right. So. Please, you didn't read my. Oh, who is this? Sorry. The messages. I have quite a number of messages here. I'm trying. I'll read them. Tell the NPP man that if they have money for that, why e-levy? Okay, we'll come to that. I think we'll end our messages here. We'll end our messages here. But this one says, Elikem, give it to them. Funny party. Well, anyway, Derek, thank you, Derek Gordon, Derek from Accra. Thank you so much, and thank you for the feedback. We do appreciate it. We are going for another break, and we'll come back to wrap up. Okay, well, welcome back to the weekly press review, and we're grateful for your messages there, and it's keeping us on our toes. It tells us that you are watching and you're listening to every bit of the discussion. We are grateful. Why? So, let's see. Let's wrap up on the affordable housing thing. Then quickly we shift to the NDC's petition to the Commonwealth over the alleged human rights abuses. So we talk about affordable housing. How affordable are the houses that already have been built here?
The first thing I'll say is that we will thank your viewers for the comments and the feedback they've given us, whether good or bad. We accept it in good faith. One of the comments was about the American style of housing, and I said that, you know, you use the inner, you created the American way. The outside can be the block, the brickwork, the block and mortar, brick and mortar, but the inside could be the partitioning, so that you don't spend so much money with brick and mortar inside as well, and that would make it lesser in cost, because the partitioning will bring the cost lower than putting the cement and the block work and everything. And that is what, and you can do it soundproof. Maybe you put 2 boards, but you put some what do you call it, foam or something within, that it would create that quiet environment that no one from the other side would hear you. So these are some of the innovative ways, and I think learned architects and engineers and things should start looking at that and see how best we can bring the prices and things down, the roofing and everything, the wood that we put on and all these things, all at a high cost, because now wood is quite expensive. So if you can look at that very well, then it will help us very well in reducing the prices.
Okay, okay, thank you. Elikem.
Yes.
Now the NDC has petitioned Commonwealth over alleged human rights abuses. What does that leave the situation? I have the story. I think March day 1, Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. The story is on page 11 of the Ghanaian Times. Yes. And it says NDC appeals to Commonwealth Secretariat to investigate human rights violations of members.
Yeah, you would agree with me that the NDC has been even charitable if you would want to say that it is only our members that were being treated in manners that violated human rights. You in the media have been one of the worst victims of the culprits, as well as in how you've been treated. We can mention names of how, from when we lost the Ahmed Swale, to how media people are being treated. Today it is Bobier and Sa, the next day it's Captain Smart, then it is Sakut Amengo, then it's this and all that. And I think that it is just justifiable that for external bodies that we know also have a say and are stakeholders, there's need for them to be made aware of some of these things when we even see proceedings in court, amongst other things. You recall even the last elections, of which President Nana-Addo was the greatest beneficiary. About 8 lives were lost, and he blatantly refused to comment on that. Under a democracy, when it becomes that expensive, then you are actually telling the people that there's no other alternative than whichever scary one they want to choose. Because I would never support anybody talking about a coup. I must say that on authority. But people with their conscience will be asking themselves, if under a democracy and through a supposed free and fair elections, military men will be dispatched or deployed to go and shoot into innocent people and kill people, maim people, and government feels that it should be proud of their party loyalists, they should protect them or cover up for them and not sanction them in any way, it becomes a major area of concern and worry to every citizen. Because if that is how expensive democracy can become, then it is better we go to the other, which then we all admit that this is the jungle in which we are, and therefore it becomes a survival of the fittest. And so the NDC felt that it was just appropriate that other stakeholders, like the Commonwealth also, is made known of these. I think that the MPP should not be worried if they think that the content of what the submission, the petition contained, it's not valid, because if it is not, then it shouldn't worry them. But I heard commentary from even the Attorney General saying all manner of things, jumping from one place to the other and trying to put his thoughts together relative to the petition. And so when I listened to even that interview, I asked myself, if you think it is not justifiable, if you think it is not true, if you think there is more to it. So what is the, you see, the NDC believes strongly that we must exhaust all avenues available to us under a democratic dispensation. And that is just one of them. So I do not think that it has been anything out of the ordinary. It's anything that should cause them to jitter. But the fact is to put them on their toes to know that, look, the world needs to know what is happening. You recall when President Mahama met the diplomats and showed them videos of what happened, and the senior minister came out saying that he was painting Ghana black. How was he painting Ghana black? The reality was what happened. Those videos were true videos of what actually transpired, which he showed to the diplomatic community for them to be aware. Then you would hear them saying that the opposition is trying to scare away investors. Investors are wise and smart, intelligent people who read a lot of indices before moving into a country where they have to invest in. It doesn't take the NDC to convince an investor to stay away or come. It takes your own economic policies, etc., and the image you are portraying for yourself out there to tell that, okay, this is what is going on, that is what is going on, this is a safe country for me to go. If the judiciary is seen to also be skewed in a certain way, then the investor will say, look, I can't get justice even when I come to do business in Ghana and it doesn't go my way. This is how it's going to be. If I want to seek justice, I may have to bribe a judge with a goat or with whatever you. And so it will not. It is not the NDC that these are truths that we know. You know, the Anas expose that made us realize that some of our judges fall as low as taking goats for judgments. It's not me saying it. That is how despicable it has become under the regime, and it should be an area of concern and worry, not for only the NDC but for the NPP and especially Ghanaians, which is why Ghanaians are happy that the NDC took this step and not to take any laws into its own hand to do anything untoward.
All right. Let me hear from Kojo.
NDC is just being a crybaby. They are just being a crybaby because now you see that they are the media in. Oh, it's not just the NDC leadership; it's the media. When the MC for what do you call it, for Secondary Takade
STMA
was arrested, did we complain? We didn't.
You can't.
We asked the police to do their job. We tried getting bail for him. They said no, let him go through the process. We said no problem. When one of our MPs was called or hauled to court for jumping the line, one of the MPs from Kumasi, we didn't complain. We have equally been treated by the police. The police are doing their work, and so we should distinguish between the police doing their work and we getting this thing. The mere fact that you're a politician doesn't mean you can go and sit on air and say anything you like. And that is why at the beginning, when you started, you stated categorically that GBC takes themselves out of any words that are untoward in the studio. It's not your this thing and you don't accept it, but it's upon us. So that the person who says the wrong things would face his own rigors. Let us be straight and specific that NDC is being a crybaby. If we say fix the country and the police is doing its work, the IGP says that, listen, let us do our work this way. If you say things that are wrong, if you cause articles in the constitutions that are against this thing and we are taking you up, you shouldn't fear. You should live with it without fear or favor. When you go and you are asking for a coup, and when you ask for a coup and they come and arrest you, then you say, oh, you are being harassed. I mean, what sort of life is this? What sort of double standard is this? Let us be realistic and let us face things as they are. Let us stop being this crybaby and know that we tell our people that do not say things that are not right and against the constitution of this country. We don't like being, double-faced as they are. When we had our fair share, we kept quiet. So if they've had their fair share, they should sit up and do the right thing and stop writing to Commonwealth. And I'm sure when they read it, they'll laugh at them because at the end of the day, what they are doing is just being a crybaby. And so we should sit up and do what is right for us and do what is right for the country. Don't let your people go out there and go and stand on, get media platforms and start saying that Ghana is ripe for a coup. There should be a coup d'etat before this thing. You think that is the end of it? Look at what is happening in Russia, Ukraine now. That is a minute bit of what is going to happen to us. We've sat in this country where people's mothers were lashed and killed. We've sat in this country where people's mothers were stripped naked at the market because they were selling it. They said they were selling kalabule right by the PNNDC. And you think we want to go into that tunnel again, where Ghana was sent backwards? We are not ready for that. So when your people are doing the wrong thing, you tell them that stop the wrong thing. Because when a coup happens in this country, they are not going to look for NDC or MPP people and prosecute them or shoot them or anything. Anyone who crosses the path of the person who goes higher or crazy will just be knocked off. And so we want a country that is decent. When when things were even going wrong during the the time of Mahama, and when this thing until 2016, we didn't ask for a coup. All we said was that the ballot would determine. So tell people that go to the ballot on 2024. When they think that we are not doing the right thing, then they should come and say that this thing. We should be elected out, or we should be voted out of power. Let us stop being this double standard and know that we have a country to run. Things might not go well globally, but that doesn't mean that it's the president's fault. The president is not the one who is causing this global crisis. The president is not the one who is causing this petrol increment. The president is not the one who is causing all these chaos worldwide. The one who brought COVID into this world. If things are not right, they are not right. But what we have to do as a country is to sit up and say that, listen, let's take the bull by the horn and do the right thing for this country to develop, for this country to move on. But not being called by the General Secretary of the NDC can go and sit on any station and talk by heart and insult the president and do whatever he wants. And he thinks that is okay. Is that what we want to teach our children? Is that the right type of moral education we want to give our children? Let us be realistic and let us be right in what we are doing, and we should be upright in doing the right thing for this country. Because whatever we sit here, when I'm not going to do that, but if I insult former President Mahama, I'm teaching my child how to insult an elderly person. And that is what has to stop.
Right,
These are the moral things we have to teach our children. And it's not book sense. They call it Ifie Nyansa.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we'll end it there.
Before we end, on that note, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. Today is your birthday.
Oh, you know that.
The NDC people have messed my day up at this last dying moment, but I know Kotoko will support me in wishing you a happy birthday, and I'm sure we'll sing for you before we leave. My
time is even up. Please, your final.
Yeah, I am surprised to hear some of the things you said. I'm sorry if the petition actually sits on your sensitivity, but it is what it is because Ghanaians know. I mean, talking about the fact that the media people are being harassed, etc. It is known by you and he as well. You can decide to deny it because the camera harassed them. Because must they harass everybody?
No, the report is emphatic that the General Secretary is saying that they should investigate cases of human rights violations, threats, and killings of NDC members.
That is why I was
I think they cited issues of Mr. Gita cited cases of the Republic versus Dr. Stephen Kotoko and two others. He cited that of the Republic versus Atofo Sane and cited that of and two others.
That is why I did say that is why
these are corrupt cases that is why sent to court, and you say that they are human rights abuses.
That is why
corrupt cases.
That is why I did mention that if you look at even the petition, it was even charitable because it needed to even encapsulate even you, the media in particular, who have been greatest victims when we talk of harassment and hounding of media men, Manasseh, etc., and all of that. But you see, the NDC does not panic over the mention of coup and all of those things. If I may just give you, it is not.
Okay, so my time is up.
On the 5th of April 2013, Captain retired Budu Thomson said that a coup d'etat was imminent in Ghana. President Nana himself, when he was even...
My time is up. Earlier,
let me just... When he was also even said that we saw the Arab Spring. A similar thing can happen in Ghana. What did he mean by that? Let us stop this.
So this is where we'll end the weekly press review. Thank you.
Well, I wish you a happy birthday, and I wish you as you celebrate your birthday in the month of March, so you are a Ghana baby.
Thank you, Elikem, Kwame Kotoko, a member of the NDC communications team, and Alfred Kojo Thomson, also a member of the NPP communication team. Thank you so much for coming onto this platform. And viewers, we have been looking at the Russia-Ukraine crisis and the batches of students who have arrived, addressing unemployment and the Youth Start initiative that will kickstart in April. We have been also looking at the NDC's petition to the Commonwealth and providing of affordable housing, as been said by the President of the Republic. My name is Rebecca Awuah, and thanks to the production team for a human job done. God willing, see you next time.